Thank you for the time.
Peace and blessings.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, beautiful people.
We are excited to be here.
Yes. Ready to be ready.
Ready.
Okay. I'm behind, y'all. I'm behind on messages and stuff, trying to keep up with everything. It's that season. It's that time of the year when we are busy.
Busy.
In a good way, in all the good ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yes. We are going to take, y'all know this hour goes by so fast. So yeah, let's take full advantage of the time we have together.
All right, so we're gonna try to have a run the show. We're gonna act like
we're gonna try. I printed it out.
We got a little system going on, some timing. We got the little counter over here. We are 1 minute and 34 seconds into the month in review. Let's just jump into the month in review because already, you all, it's not Thanksgiving just passed and we did a lot. We have done a lot already, and there's still a bunch coming up. So let me see. I tried to just nod it. We got Wakanda. We've been to, well, one is already standing, but a new Black-owned business just opened, Cube River Grill. We had Town Cat Friendsgiving. We did Pitch New Haven at Next Haven. Wynn attended the Mighty Dream Forum and Black Diamond Weekend. So I think that was first. Let's start with that, and I guess work our way backwards, I guess.
We introduce ourselves. We
definitely need to let the people know who we are.
Into it.
Because we jump right in. We amongst friends. That's what happened. We are amongst friends.
That's what it is. I'm assuming everybody know.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so I'll kick it off. So I am Shayla, aka Earth.
Yes, indeed. And I am Hafiza Teray, aka Wind.
And I'm Arden. Fire, burn. So we are the elements of abundance.
Indeed. Yeah, so for those who don't know, we are a collective of women, mothers, divine feminine. We go by many labels.
Educators.
Absolutely.
Real estate modules.
Hey. Definitely. There are so many, titles and labels that we can throw out, but divine beings, and we, have a collective purpose to just be light and truth and really show up for each other. And that's kind of how this collective has come together, because it's beyond a sisterhood to me. Like, y'all are truly it's a purposeful union. And I think it reflects
the feeling is mutual. The feeling is mutual. It's community, it's values, it's a safe place. We raise our children together. We share lifestyles together. Yeah. So, and I know I just want to add to that my wish is for those of us who are joining us, male and female, if if you're here and watching and following us and figuring out who we are and what we do, it's driven in the purpose of wanting you all to find your tribe, your sisterhood, your brotherhood, your community, your village, your clan, whatever label works for you, but find that group, that support network. It's just so valuable.
We are communal beings. I think that's my tagline. We're not here to do this alone.
Right.
So, yeah, definitely.
We are together. Yeah.
Connection. All right. So let's jump on into it. Fire done ran down. What has happened over the last month, and so we have crammed a lot into it. Mine is kind of brief overview, a lot of business related activities, but really about community and wealth building and entrepreneurship was really just the energy that was around both of those events that took place down in Hampton Roads, Virginia, which is close to Norfolk State, which is my alma mater. Was able to attend with my business partner and bestie, Dr. Janice Rogers Caffey. And it was really geared towards making connections, especially around moving into this international real estate space. And again, it's about, creating the network and having access to the resources that are available. We don't know what we don't know. We had an opportunity to sit in a forum with Pharrell Williams, and there is a significant push to connect Black entrepreneurs or BIPOC entrepreneurs with resources so that we can be innovative and have the backing and the finances to really make all of this a reality. So we sat there and listened to venture capitalists and business owners. There was a forum, there was about 56, upwards of access to $56 trillion on the stage.
That's what's up.
Meaning that as venture capitalists, they had access to those sorts of resources that they could best tie us into. So again, we don't know what we don't know or who we don't know. And just really, we're about connections and really building meaningful relationships and having meaningful conversations.
Absolutely.
Right.
Tap it in.
Which is also the way our creator works, right?
Yes.
So we start recognizing that relationship between the divine and what energy is, and what these so-called miracles are, and the magic that happens. It's through people, places. It's through people, places, and experiences.
Absolutely.
So we got to be open. We have to be open. We got to show up. And I have to say, this past month, that's what's worked. It's been showing up. Like, when you don't feel like it, sometimes you just don't feel like it. And every time, I would say over this past month that I've just gotten dressed and showed up, it was worth it.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. Can you get into like showing up? Because I think the next thing on the list would be the pitch. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to physically be there. I was there in spirit, but y'all are phenomenal. What was that?
Yes. Oh, wow. So let me see. Who was this? So we got to give a shout out and a thank you to Miles Lassiter of Purpose Built. It's a venture partnership company that he has, and Carolyn Smith of The Collab, who basically invited applicants to pitch an idea, a venture, any venture or idea, anything new that they had going on or wanted to get going on, to apply, to be able to share that with the greater New Haven community. In the spirit of yes. It wasn't a competition pitch in that sense. It was share your idea. And then those who responded are in the spirit of yes to figure out how they can help you get that idea to go. Absolutely. So we applied collectively. It's just that Wen just couldn't be available because she was with Pharrell. Like, what you got to do? So we showed up with Earth and I, and we pitched the elements and what we do, and the sponsorship and the resources that we need for launch, for curating our events, for marketing and promoting the events, trying to keep the events at low cost. The
spaces. We need spaces. Like we were looking for venues to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we told them about us. We told them what we do, told them what we need, and there was it was a good turnout, and the reception was well. When the Earth and I looked up, and it was like a group of people ready to talk to us and make offers and ask questions and find out what we needed, with offers on how they could help in the terms of space. And I think there was a couple of venture capitalists in the space, who we are just waiting for, to actually meet with and follow up on. So it was a great opportunity. We enjoyed it. It was fun. It was quick. It wasn't a long, drawn out event. So it made it, purposeful. So yeah, that was, thank you again to Carolyn and Miles for that.
Yeah. And I just want to add to that too, because the feedback was, there were out of 20 applicants, we were pretty much selected out of, wasn't there 20?
They narrowed it down, to 6 from the 20.
Yep, it was 6 total pictures. Yeah.
So that's even representing as mothers and New Havenites. And then another thing too was, this is our way of life. So even without us doing a pitch, we're going to do this work regardless. So, and it resonated with others who felt the same way.
Yeah. That was a common response. Like, well, you guys are so authentic. Like, it just feels good what you're doing. And that was common from people not with each other responding to us. So we thought that was, not even interesting, just glad that it's seen, that it comes through our authenticity. And as Earth was saying, that we're going to do whatever we're doing in spite of.
Right. And I think the resources really allow us to impact more people, positively. Like, again, like you said, we're gonna break bread every Friday, but it could be a difference between 5 to 10 of us and 50 to 100 of us.
Exactly.
and to be impacted by what it is that we're doing. And like you spoke about the authenticity in the space, it really is creating a sacred space. Like,
Mhm.
and restoring that to our connections. We are an environment of trust. We are an environment of, like you said, authenticity. So how many other places can you go into and feel that? And I think that's part of the reason, like you said, sometimes you just don't want to get up to go places. Like sometimes it's just like,
Hmm.
and for me, that's part of it. It's like the energy of having to go out into the world. It's somewhat draining in a sense, because
Right.
we give and we give. And when we come into a space, we give, we show up from a place of love. So we're in environments with people, and some of them, a lot of them I don't know. So going
Mhm.
into it and coming out of it, it takes energy.
Mhm.
So that's what we pour into what it is that we're doing. That's what we pour into the spaces that and the experiences that we curate. And it absolutely is a frequency and a vibe and a feeling.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
So that was good. And then Concat Friendsgiving.
That
Yes.
was
Um,
beautiful.
Beautiful. Yes.
so that's our children. That's three of our children's, four of our children's after school program. Um, Run by Concorp, which is a huge community economic development company located here in New Haven. And they had their Friendsgiving dinner prepared by the Cookology class students who prepared this wonderful meal. They made sure there was something for everybody. Yes,
They
vegan.
had
It was no gluten
listen,
free, Shayla May, but they had the
they
vegan.
tried.
They did. I think they did very well considering.
Yeah.
The food was tasty, the ambiance was wonderful, and the youth program director, Steve Driffin, shout out to him because he really gave, Santana and Sans Coco
Oh, yes.
A
great
platform.
publicity during that. Yeah, he gave her a
Absolutely.
platform to launch her hot chocolate, her hot cocoa, her specialty hot cocoa beverage. So that was a welcome experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it was
No,
communal. It was a big breaking bread. It was a big
It was.
it
breaking bread.
was. It
It really
was.
was. It was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then
What
what we
else?
got the Q River Grill, the Happy Thanksgiving sort of happy hour.
Reunion. So, shout out to Huck, Daryl
Yep.
Huckabee over at WYBC, the morning show.
And
But
his
yeah, this
cousin
was
Ife Gardine,
definitely shout out to Ife.
because
They
that's
do.
their friends and family giving. That's their friends and
They're
family
cousins.
gathering.
Yep. And
Mhm.
they put it together. And
Yeah.
they've been doing it for a while, but because of COVID, they had to stop. So for the last 3 years, it hadn't happened. So this was like the first reunion in the past 3 years. And it was a phenomenal turnout. They
Yes.
said between like something like over 80 people in and out from beginning to end.
Wow.
Very
Showed
nice.
up and supported this new Black-owned business, Q River Grill. Um, Great menu, an assortment. Everybody that I know that ate something said it tastes good, and I believe them.
Mhm.
The drinks,
On the water. I already know. Y'all gonna know where the phone. You can't find me. You know where I'm gonna be when that weather breaks.
okay, and not
You
even
gonna
when the
find
weather
me
breaks.
on the dock.
But it
Yeah.
was nice in
Yeah.
Oh,
November. Like we went out on the dock, and even with the weather, they got heat lamps and everything. But the view was beautiful to be on the river. It was at night. It was just like
Yeah.
it was a vibe. It
it
really
very
was.
much so.
Great location.
Yeah,
Quebec River is like, oh, that's your view. And it's a great location. Great
it is.
location. So, yes.
Yep. So
Yeah.
Black owned, looking forward to seeing what we could host in that space.
Yeah,
Definitely looking forward to what we can
absolutely.
do in that space.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
then Hill House's class of 94 alumni get together or
Reunion.
whatever have you at Harp in West Haven, which is also Black owned.
And a
So
Hill House alumni
Right.
yeah.
who
Oh,
owns
okay.
it. Yep, she is.
Okay. Okay. I didn't
So
know
it
that.
was like, supporting and soliciting a Black owned business, but also
Let's
it's
circle
Hill House. So we
right.
family.
Circulate our dollar within our community, right? Yep.
Absolutely.
Yes. So that was nice. Yeah, and Harp was nice. Music was nice. The DJ, he got us moving. He got
Yeah,
the
I got to dance. I ain't danced in a while. That was good. That was good for my body and my soul.
Yes. Yes. He was definitely hitting on them 90s. Like the
very much.
music that he was playing, he was on point with the And once they get into the reggae, he was on point with the.
She's the reggae one. One love a reggae, yes.
Woohoo! Yeah, that was fun.
You know, Fire.
Fire was getting it in.
That Caribbean all up in her.
And don't forget Mineral. Mineral be cutting up, okay? Mineral will get everybody out on the dance floor. If you were sitting down,
you would no longer sitting down because
you up out your seat.
Yes.
Yeah. So Harps. And we had we've been to Harps a couple of times. We also went there for a comedy show when my cousin came in town. So yeah, definitely another venue location. I think they got great wings for those who appreciate a good wing, and French fries, right, Shayla? They had some decent French fries.
I had to eat something, so yes, French fries.
So if you want, we definitely want to encourage everyone to solicit these Black-owned businesses, and yeah, there's a lot of value there.
We went through a lot in this month of November. Like this
Wakanda, y'all. Wakanda.
Don't forget about Wakanda Forever and ever.
I didn't see it. So.
See,
when I want you to speak to Wakanda because you have strong feelings about Woman King.
So I did. And I got strong feelings about Wakanda too.
And we haven't talked about those. So just real quick, I have been meaning to ask you your
my take on
to Wakanda.
I mean, I think there's this similar energy around I don't know. And not to say that like we are warriors. We are, strong. We are powerful. We have leadership qualities. We are just phenomenal and multifaceted beings. There's no one cookie cutter way or one box for divine feminine, right? So if we get into what that looks like when we say there's various deities, there's not just the one. I'm not speaking in religious terms, I'm speaking in spirituality and universal laws. So what deities represent are energies in the universe, right? Mm-hmm. So when we think about Oshun, that's one of those popular deities names. We think about, softness, seductive, very alluring and pleasure. You think of honey and sweetness. But at the same time, there's Oya or Kalima. And these are very, fierce warrior-like energies. A tornado will come through here and wipe everything out. There will be nothing left. Destruction. You see images of Kalima, and she has a severed head in her hand and a blade in the other. And it's not even necessarily, murder, but it is death, right? Death and rebirth, the ending of something and the beginning of something else. So there's no one mold that women are supposed to fit into, or one aspect of femininity. It's definitely multifaceted. I always talk about representation and the subconscious impact of what it is that we are being fed. When we are not telling our own stories and don't have ownership of our own stories, even if the people that they put in place look like us, then we always have to question everything about what it is that we are being fed, because we are being fed. So when I look at the imagery, it was a very well done movie. You could tell a lot of money was spent. Cinematography, the makeup, the costumes, the fact that they employed so many of us that were paid in the making of this, the director, all of that.
But that narrative.
Again,
that narrative.
It always goes back to that. It always goes back to the narrative. And what was the takeaway? If I'm somebody that's not myself and I'm looking at this and I'm constantly being bombarded with certain imagery, what do I take away from it? If I'm a young woman, who is still trying to figure stuff out and I'm constantly seeing these dynamics, what do I take away from this? So that's always my question, because I want to be able to have that conversation with my daughter or my niece when these are teachable moments. So it's not that I didn't like the movie. I absolutely did. But there's imagery that I feel like is lacking anytime I'm looking for something that resonates. Like I'm looking for dynamic male-female relationships, something that can be a model and an example, because too often we have examples of divisiveness.
Yeah.
So when do we see that imagery? I'm looking for the balance in leadership. Yes, I'm powerful. I could do a whole lot alone, but do I want to? Do I want to be a queen without a king? Like, what's the narrative? What is it that we want to put out into the world?
Mm-hmm.
And then also, how are we being viewed? Because there is an image of what a strong Black woman looks like that people who are not within our culture are feeding into.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not strong. I'm delicate. Take
Mhm.
care of me. I'm okay with that. Can I
Mhm.
hold it down? Absolutely.
Right.
Do I have you? Absolutely. Whatever you need, we doing this. But
Right.
do I want to always take that on? Is
No.
that what I want my
Absolutely not.
reality? Is that the reality that we are creating for them? Because our imagination creates our reality. So again, it's nothing to take away from, the different aspects of the movie. All of those things are good, but I always like to see, well, where is the balance? What is the lesson? And from an imagination perspective, what are we subconsciously creating for ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to be the female Black Panther out here going to battle and vengeful? Like,
Angry at the world.
right,
Right.
make my
Yeah.
ovaries ache. Like, we
Right.
ain't supposed to,
Right.
all of that energy
Right.
is not
Right.
good for the womb.
No,
Like,
it's
No,
not.
you're right about that. I
Mhm.
could relate to that. Which in this, see, now this is a tangent. Not even a tangent,
no,
but we could go with this but this is the perfect segue to our trending topic for the day, which is relationships and the perspective and how they're viewed and the expectations within them, and what do men and women want and expect out of relationship.
Yeah.
So particularly, and we have our definition of relationship being any interaction between two or more people, but we want to look more closely at intimate relationships between a man and a woman tonight.
Right.
So yeah.
And we say that because that's the only thing I can speak to. Like, if that's not your dynamic, it's respected, but I don't have anything to give to that. So yeah,
Right.
our definition is based off of our experience and what our reality is.
Yes.
So definitely feel free to chime in.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna start with that clip.
But see, the thing about it, you didn't get my text. I could not download the clip.
She can't download it. Can
we
we do
Yeah,
that?
it was
Okay.
the app that I was trying to do was not going to allow me to do that. And I don't know if it'll do it justice even trying to explain the clip and what it was about. So I've been mulling it over, like
Right.
even what my response is to it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if you could play it on your phone, if it would come across the same, but
Right. I got you.
We could try, or I can give it. I could give the synopsis of what.
well, you go on ahead with the synopsis, and we can jump into this conversation.
Okay, so let's see.
And maybe our viewers might have saw the video too.
We can say that. Want to start with trying to see if we can play it on the phone in the way we did on the Zoom the
See
other
if it
night.
comes through. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's do that. And you all know how I am on this stuff, so just talk to the people then.
Okay, we're gonna talk
To the people then.
Right, but relationships, right? But just
Okay.
being clear about intimacy, right? I was just gonna bring up the difference between intimacy and romance.
Oh yeah.
Like there's such a difference. I don't want to be romance. Right?
You can keep your Roman antics.
Yes.
Okay. So if this doesn't show up, you can go to Spiritual World on Instagram. And it's a hashtag press play. It's the honesty for me. So if people wanted to find it, but it's on Spiritual World.
Oh, is there a link to the clip? Let me see. I think I could possibly send a link to the clip in the
oh yep. If you go to it
in the comments.
So I have link copied to link copied to clipboard. Oh no, that's gonna be in the phone though.
And I don't even know, is this even yeah, this is okay.
Can Can we see y'all? Can we see?
You can see it, but can you hear it?
We can't hear it.
Let's see.
Things I like being manhandled by several different men at once. If you want to call it being ran, call whatever the fuck you want. I'm sexually liberated, and I'm a goddess, and I deserve to have hands all over my body. I deserve to be worshipped. Like, why not? I deserve that attention. All right, so being ran, yes. I like gang bangs. I like being manhandled by several different men at once. If you want to call it being ran, call whatever the fuck you want. I'm sexually liberated, and I'm a goddess.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
There you have it.
Yeah. So So that was shared.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who wants to start? Because we said we prefaced it with relationships, but it's I don't know necessarily take that as well, relationship, like you said, is any interaction between two or more people, right? Intimacy and sex, you can't do any of those things without relationship. So when I try to put this into context as to what is even this conversation about, I realized that this is a young woman, right? She can't be out of her 20s, I'm assuming. Some people look younger than they are. I don't know what her age range is. And she's sharing with an audience what it is that she says that she desires and what it is that, she believes to be her tapping into her sexuality and tapping into her goddess. What I can say, because I can't speak to her life experiences and don't know her, is that at that age, I had no idea who I was.
Absolutely.
We live in a society where so much emphasis is put on like shock value and views and likes and all of these things. And then we have this misconception of what it is to be a goddess. I'm a goddess. I'm a queen. I'm a this. I'm a that. And we giving ourselves all these labels to give us some value or some esteem. And, in the comments, it was like, it's the honesty for me. What are we being honest about? Is it really honesty? I don't know her story, but I would like to. I would like to understand her background and like where she coming from, and if this is something that she, experienced and now she owns, and that's what is liberating for her. But what concerns me is I have a daughter. I have nieces, all the young women that are in the village, in the tribe, and even outside of that. These are conversations that are being had without any guidance. Nobody is,
briefing.
Who is
giving it some context or having a conversation about the child's reaction to it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So if my child, who's almost 18, like she's a grown woman, she's my child, but she ain't a child. She's scrolling through this. I would absolutely want to have a conversation about what this is, because sometimes we normalize things that aren't necessary. Just because it's normal doesn't mean it's natural, and it doesn't mean that it's healthy.
Absolutely.
We normalize a whole lot of stuff.
We do.
But that doesn't mean that that's what we should be doing or gravitating towards. So the clip is somewhat jarring, and what it is that she's saying, and it's, for me, it's beyond the sexual aspect of it, because what you say you desire, that's on a case-by-case individual basis. I can't tell you what's right or what's wrong. My concern is your motivation behind it, your life experiences. Mm-hmm. Is this for shock value? Are you liberated? Because at this point, there's no filter on anything. It's like everybody trying to level up everybody. If you listen to the music, if you watch the shows, I'm so disconnected that I'm traumatized every time I come back, and I'm like, did you see this?
Yeah, I wanted to know her story. I want to know her story. I want to know, if has she experienced trauma? Well, we all have, but what, have you healed from it? To what extent have you sought help? And, are you really at this place of liberation? Because I can say that on the flip side, that could be true for some women. Right. There are spaces in relationship where, multiple lovers is real and accepted and these things. But, it really depends on where somebody is in their psyche, in their soul, in their spirit, in their healing journey, all of these things.
Absolutely.
So I could see a case for it, but the circumstances make all the difference in the world.
It absolutely does.
And I agree with you as far as I would want to know her story, because we talked about the imprint, right? Like so, like what was her introduction to this, right?
Master Yao, the awake. I guess this title got to be put out there.
Divine Feminine.
That's it. Awakening the Divine Feminine. Awakening Divine Feminine. That's a must read.
Absolutely.
For every female, young and old.
That's about to be a segue into something else too. But Shayla, I want you to finish your thought.
Just knowing, like, just what was her first initial womb imprint? Like that relationship, was it volatile? Like was it something so where it opened up another box and she just accepted it and just and again, I don't want to speak for her because we don't know her story, but again, there is a story behind this young lady,
right?
And we always talk about like our womb imprints, right? Like the our journey, right? And just the impact of it and just the healing of it, and yeah. So I love you all, my ladies. Yes.
We love you too. We do. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a segue into something. It just builds upon that. The book that you mentioned as far as Awakening the Divine Feminine.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the chat. I was figuring that out along the way.
Finding the link for that. But a lot of times there's a conversation about, so there's a difference between sex and intimacy. And we just jump right into this because it's like the foundation of relationships, right? Especially when you talk about the masculine feminine dynamic. So that segued into experiences, right? So she described an experience that she said that is, what she desired and what she liked. What I am really clear of, especially from a societal perspective, and I think for generations, and this probably is impacting everyone in the world, we don't have certain things in place that we once did that taught us how to exist. We don't have the same connection to culture that restored the sacredness. Like, we understood our bodies. We understood the purpose of sex. We understood how to utilize it for what it was intended for, which is healing and manifestation. That it should be pleasurable, that it should impact all of the senses. It should exceed beyond your body into your aura. It's connection. So the idea of coming from a healed space in a healthy environment, the expansive capacity to love, yes, you absolutely can love more than one person. You can have a healthy dynamic with multiple people. But we're coming from a society that is traumatized. We talk about post, traumatic slave syndrome. We talk about generational trauma. We talk about the overly sexualization of everything in this society. We talk about the rampant molestation, generation upon generation. So we're not coming, when we talk about even sex, we're not coming from an understanding of what it was initially intended for. And I'm not speaking in religious tones or, what's unholy or anything of that nature. I'm talking energetically. Like, when beings come, we are electric beings. Our heart beats. We produce electricity in our body. There's no mistake in our makeup. And the purpose in connection and the purpose in orgasm and all of these things, these are scientific acts. There's chemicals released. There's exchanges of energy. It's like a recharging station. At least that's what it should be. But when people come together and that's not the intention, and there's things like in that book, it speaks very clearly about semen retention. It talks about like energy and the energy work. One thing we spoke about today was smudging. Like, what energy you bringing into the space when you with all these different people. So the understanding that we have yet to oh, you want me to put this in?
Yes.
We have there's a lot of relearning that has to take place. It does. As to how it is that we relate. How do we tap in and into this connectedness that is our sexuality? How do we begin to heal and reconnect as a people? How do we get the masculine feminine dynamic
in order? Because it's out of order right now. It's just out of order.
It is.
It really
It
is.
is.
Imbalanced. There's an imbalance.
And it's this is a one-sided conversation, and I would love for some men to chime in, because there we have to come
because it's
on.
necessary.
It's
necessary.
so necessary.
We're assuming and we're assuming what it is that the other's feeling, what they want. I think another thing link we were looking at was what happens when women are dissatisfied in relationship.
And how often we don't say anything.
And like men don't, right. And then, you know, we're scared that if we bring you a solution or speak up about some women are afraid to speak up to their mate about, you know, their dissatisfaction. And
so can we put this into context?
Yes.
Okay. And so there is a teacher, I call him, on Instagram, right? 100 Days of Summer, something like that is what his handle is. But he has basically studied the anatomy of a woman, right? Down to he understands the science. He understands energetically how to connect, and he understands physically how to bring a woman to climax. So much so that he teaches, right? And shares insight and information. So he posted a thread, and the thread was like a private thread. He didn't have people's names, but it was just screenshots of different things that were being sent to him. Right. And a lot of the messages were from women who were like, you know, I've been following you, you know, I've seen your videos, I listened to your information. She was like, you know, they've been in relationships for all of this time, or other relationships in their entire lives. They're in their 40s now, and I think that's when you come to like a different state of being. But she's like, never experienced orgasm, never really experienced real pleasure during intercourse. How do I bring this up with my partner? How do I have this conversation without his ego getting involved? And it was different screenshots of different conversations basically saying the same thing. Like that whole faking things until you make it.
Right.
But the female is walking around dissatisfied. The male might have ejaculated or come to that level of climax, but doesn't even realize there's so many other levels beyond that haven't been experienced yet.
Yeah.
Right. So then you also have this whole infidelity thing, right? Like, okay, she's boring, or I'm used to that. I want something new. You going off to somebody new. The newness of the experience is going to make it psychologically feel better, but it's still the same dynamics when we don't have the science down of how we connect on an intimate level and energetically circulate that and have full body orgasms where it is healing, and we restored that like universal energetic sacredness. And again, it's not religion, this is science. I'm talking about how you make your body do what it does,
move and gyrate. Remember the video we watched, and just literally by just putting your hand over the body, and her body was gyrating, like
because it's energy. It's energy. And if energetically we are not connected, if I don't feel safe and comfortable with you, if I can't trust you, and we're not even talking about
look, we got a brother.
We got a comment. Thank you. The new eventually gets old. It all gets old, right?
Yes.
Like at some point in time, it all does. But what if you have mastered the art of pleasure? Like, what if you have mastered the art of tapping in to that level of bliss? So it's not about different partners. It's about understanding how to access that and doing so. So it never gets old. You always reaching for new levels. And every time you are left energized, there is so much, we got to look at, how do we become overly sexualized? Why do men think it's okay to bust that many nuts? Like it truly is not good for you. Like health-wise, every time you release semen, you are depleting yourself.
Nutrients.
You are lowering your energetic
vibration. Yes.
All of those things. And it's not the same for women, because for us, that happens when we menstruate. When we release eggs, it's the same as when men ejaculate.
Right.
So every month we have to restore ourselves because we are being depleted in our cycles. But men, especially if you out here talking about you getting some multiple times a day, every day, and you're not practicing semen retention, we ain't even vibrating on the same frequency.
And if you look again scientifically, there's an increase in male prostate cancer and erectile dysfunction.
Wow.
And I've encountered several men in life who have experienced prostate issues, erectile dysfunction, not experienced that way, but just encounter men who have these issues, and I know them. So I know that they've had lives like these are players. These were, one is a pimp. Like, so I know directly, like there's a direct correlation to where he is now in his 60s, 50s, where men could go forever. But exactly where they are at this later stage is a correlation from his hypersexualized activities as a teenager throughout his life.
Right.
And when you say that, Fire, like what comes to my mind is, what is his story? Right?
I got a story.
When asked the question, how do we get hypersexualized? It's the trauma, it's experience. Men are out here being molested as children. You could rate
and not have a voice to speak to it.
Yes. Men are being molested as children. The media, there's no filters, the music. This is how.
Yeah.
And again, what we normalize isn't necessarily to our benefit. It's not necessarily natural, but it's normalized. Like now, this is like the expectation. And I was so distraught. I saw a Tyler Perry show the other night, y'all. And I was just like,
I don't even think I want to watch it. Like,
I was traumatized. And I'm like, whose reality is this? And then people watch this and somebody thinks that like this is okay, or maybe aspirations, or like, and again, people have stories, and not to say that people haven't had some traumatic experiences. That
you gotta give it all context. What's the context of the Tyler Perry show? Because I would like to think now that we would like to think that now that he owns his own studio and has made movies, like you don't even have to be on BET
in certain spaces, right?
On a sitcom with the nonsense.
I don't know. And maybe it got better, but y'all, I just saw the pilot, and I don't know if the pilot was just supposed to like just be really, really shocking, but it was really ridiculous. And it was called All the Queen's Men. Yeah.
The title alone.
So the title, I was like, okay, let me see what this is about. And it wasn't like even the way that the imagery was. I didn't look at the trailer. I just clicked on it. And then when I saw the first episode, I was traumatized. And from an energetic standpoint, I always go back to that because my practice and my study is in energy. When we talk about Tantra, it's energy. It's not about, it's energy before it's sex. Sex is an act and it generates and circulates the energy. But when you study Tantra, that's not the foundation of it. So, we got a comment.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right. Like again, normalized, right?
Absolutely.
And that hits nail on the head why some people are not, why they're closed to healing. They're closed to doing the work because they're resistant to doing the work. Don't feel they need the work because what they're experiencing is normal. Like, what do you mean? What's wrong?
Right. Yeah. This is just how it's supposed to be. And we're not. And again, this show is reflective of why we may not reach for more, right? Because if somebody else had this experience or worse, then who am I to think there's something more out there or available? And again, that is a lot of the energy around why it's so important and impactful about how we program ourselves, what movies we see, what shows we watch, what music we listen to, how we engage in relationships, because all of those things are what we're consuming. It's like food. If you continuously put junk in your body, what are you going to produce? Dis-ease. So it's the same thing from a psychological and an energetic level of what are we consuming. So to see those things, even on a subconscious level, what we don't even notice, we normalize. So dysfunction in relationships. Oh, everybody argues. Oh, everybody cheats. Oh, everybody this. No, everybody doesn't. And if everybody does, I'm not. I'm not trying to be like everybody. No,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No. But yeah, so where are we? We at 45.
Wow.
How we doing?
Looking forward to.
We're doing good with time. We're doing
Okay.
good with time.
We're good. Yes.
Did we leave anything unsaid? I know that's a topic that there is no real end to. Like we can continue. Like this is something that we have to continue to have. And I would love for one of our events to really be about that.
Restoration. The next restoration promises to be a co-ed experience with
Yes.
individual breakouts for males and females. We're going to address semen retention. We're going to address your trauma.
All right, now y'all heard it first. You talking about we?
Yeah. We already.
All right. Stay on it.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So the calendar, the website is updated to some extent. So when you all go on, you will see just a year in review, a very generalized calendar to kind of let you know when things are happening. So you can begin to just save the date or know in the back of your mind, wait a minute, restoration gonna be in April. Let me just, stay watching that calendar to find out when that date drops. But that is up at the elements.world, people. The elements.world. You will find the events calendar there.
Yes.
So I guess that brings us to
yes, Dr. Rogers Cafe in the building.
Right. Yes, Dr. Rogers Cafe said our tickets. She said, I'm bringing me and my husband.
Okay, come on, y'all.
Yes.
We love it.
So I guess just in closure to that, you all, tonight we just want to leave you with thinking about your foundation for stable, healthy relationships, versus the alternative. And reach out to us for further, more in-depth conversations or, again, solutions. We go beyond addressing the problems. That's one of the things that's important about our platforms, making sure that we are providing solutions and action in response to the issues that we know exist and those that we may bring up. So,
absolutely.
What's coming up, ladies? What's coming up?
Indulge. We are so looking forward to Indulge. Today was a good day for Indulge, y'all. We got some confirmations.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, we better premise this with balance, right? So balance and the centeredness of all things. We've talked about sexuality and hypersensuality, but we also hypersexuality, but we also recognize that there's a real genuine place for pleasure, and I think that was said within this conversation. There is a genuine need, requirement for pleasure and indulgence and extravagance. That's a part of our birthright. So our events are curated to address that, particularly indulge. So I just want to set that context that we've done a restoration so far where we brought the healing, the wellness, and somebody want to come in with a bottle of wine and it's like, this is not that kind of event. Absolutely. Indulge, it would be just the opposite. Come and get your indulge on. Yes. So we are inviting you to do that on January 7th. And Earth, tell the people them.
Get the people what they want. The people them.
Yes, first indulge event will be at Next Haven
Penthouse.
In the penthouse, y'all. Who been to the penthouse? Raise your hand on the chat if you've been to the penthouse. At Next Haven in New Haven.
And can we talk about how dynamic Next Haven is, though, for those listeners who may not know what Next Haven is? It is a gallery that was created with the understanding that the artistic innovators, need the support to be able to just hone in and actualize their craft. It is a full art gallery with studios and mentorship and fellowship programs to allow artists to truly be artists and tap into their craft.
And can we also talk about just the location, how the founders, they deliberately put it in a place in the New Hallville area versus downtown New Haven.
Right. They put it in Dixwell.
They put it in the community, right? Yeah. So being within the community, we got a penthouse in the community, So
right.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yes, January 7th, Beards. I gotta pronounce it. Beards and Stilettos.
Beards and stilettos. Beards and stilettos.
But don't be shy. If you don't have a beard, you're still invited.
That's right. That's right. And if you don't wear stilettos, you invited. Get a cute little pump.
You still invited.
Right.
Yeah. Or flat, whatever you need.
Right. Be comfortable. Be cute and comfortable.
Yeah. We have 2 beautiful feature artists, locals in New Haven, and just definitely artistry, talent, like community. Like when I say this event is going to be off the roof, like
literally
off
the roof.
Yes.
Yeah. It is going to titillate the senses,
all of the senses,
entice all of the senses. This is definitely going to be a sensory, sensual experience for grown-ups.
Yes. So we talking about taste, touch, smell. It's going to all of it. It's movement. It's connection. It's revitalizing. So it's definitely pleasure centered. And we got to grown and sexy that up. Like things should feel good. Life should feel good. So it's the foods. It's the atmosphere and the ambiance.
It's the visuals, it's the feeling, it's the space, it's all of those things. So when we say we curating, y'all, we are curating.
And it is falling into place. I am so grateful for the support that has come through and people who want to be a part of this and contribute to. And it truly is a labor of love. Like it's about restoring that which is sacred. And we are communal beings. We are divine beings. Like, this is arts and culture, creativity. That is creation, right? Like that is what divine means. Yeah. So we're having all these conversations, but that's really what it is about. It's about changing the narrative. It's about telling our own stories. It's about restoring our culture. And we are very, sophisticated, dignified. We are like truly the divine elevated beings that we strive to be. But even beyond that, we everyday people, and those who there's people who haven't experienced these kind of opportunities, to be amongst fine art, artists that look like us, to taste some of the cuisines, to be exposed to some of the culture and the dances and the activities that are going to take place in the space. So it's about exposure. We don't know what we don't know. So to be exposed to new things, to be exposed to, and connect with people that we might not even be next to in any opportunity. So how do we curate experiences that brings all of those things together for the upliftment, for the connection, for the togetherness of our community?
Well, I want to thank in advance for past and present sponsors. So, shout out to Daddy Butter, Latina's My Zen Space Crafts, Community Economic Development Partnership, Zola Experience, Sage Academy. Who else have been some of our other sponsors?
David Asbury, yes.
Fathers,
Fixing Fathers, David Asbury, and that was
Mike Knight.
Mike Knight, yep, absolutely, Mike Knight.
And Andre Tag for our donations. We got some donations.
Cool Nerd Sam, who is doing some work in the background for us.
Absolutely. Our digital footprint looking like something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. So yes, thank you, sponsors, past, present, and future. And start checking your ledger so you can figure out how to show up for Indulge, so we could make this happen on the level that we are expecting
and deserving, right? To bring what the community is deserving of. Like we want it to be at that level. We don't want to cut any corners, and we also want to make sure that we are compensating all the artists, practitioners, and the artists that come into the space that do this work because it is their passion. And their divine gift. We want to make sure that we're not budgeting, doing no eco prices or friends and family discounts. We want to make sure that we are paying them for their gifts and talents. And that's a lot of the reason why we want to make sure that we have the sponsorship in place so that can be an all around dynamic event. So mark your calendar.
Put our website up. Put the website up and the and the email address.
So mark your calendar. Check out the here we go.
Another thing I want to add too is like, just making sure that we're looking for sponsors, right? So even if you want to be, you can't come, but you want to make sure to support us, we are looking for sponsorship.
We are. And buy tickets. Tickets are going to be on sale within the next 24 hours. Keep checking back at the site. We got some early bird specials. It's Cyber Monday, all of that good stuff. But support, even if you can't. Even if you don't live in New Haven and you're not going to be here on the 7th, buy a ticket.
And send somebody. Please. That's a gift for giving. This is an experience, you all. Anybody who comes to indulge will have had an experience that will not measure to anything you could purchase and put in the box and wrap up.
Absolutely.
Nope.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's connect. I'm excited about this. I'm grateful for y'all for this conversation, for
thinking out loud.
Let me tell you. Because y'all don't understand. We would be sitting in that kitchen right there behind Shayla. If you look over her shoulder, we would be back there having the same conversation while we cooking or over a glass of wine for some.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And this would just be us talking.
Yes. Yeah.
So welcome, y'all. Welcome into our circle.
Welcome to the
kitchen. I'm feeling overdue, Earth. I'm coming for this Friday. We breaking bread.
Are we? Okay.
No, we're not. Well, okay. We'll
we got, because I was about to say, well, it all depends.
No, I forgot. I'm feeling overdue. I need to get into that space. I need to be in your space. I need to get on that couch.
I need to cleanse it though. There's some sicknesses up in here, so yes. So
we're gonna open a window and sage.
Yes. All right then, good people. Good night.
Yeah. We will see you the next 4th Monday in January.
Would that be January?
Yeah, so we won't be back no, in December. I'm not talking about. We're still in November.
We're doing the last week, the last Monday in January, in December.
It'll be December 26th.
So as a general rule, you are the fourth Monday. The fourth Monday of the month is when we air.
Right. So that'll be December 26th.
Mm-hmm.
So
yay.
Yay. Right?
We are looking forward to it. In the meantime, definitely check out the website, connect with us, follow us on all of the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook. You on Twitter?
Ladies, protect your wombs. Brother, hold your sperm.
Hey, is that a T-shirt?
What you say?
I said, is that a T-shirt? Ladies, protect your womb.
Men. Oh, ladies, protect your womb. Men, hold your sperm. You heard that, huh?
That might end up being a T-shirt, y'all.
Ladies,
so be on the lookout.
Right. On that note, have a good night.
God bless. Good night.